Hello, so I'm finally getting around to do the guide for the 5-1 out of bounds clip and out of bounds movement and all the backups, because there's a lot of backups. So this clip and all the movements are actually not that difficult once you start understanding how they work. And they're definitely viable to use. Though the full level skips are not viable because there's such a high def risk. But yeah, you can walk around this without aggroing the enemies. If you do, you can just kill them, that's fine. Just a small time loss. So let's save the tab. So there's, in my opinion, in 3 ways I found you can try and do to set up the clip. What we want to happen is we want Remy to get stuck between the leg and the wall. Because when we get stuck there, for some reason there's 2 angles where you're then going to find. First one to clip down. When first time we're gonna get stuck quite high. So the first angle we find that just clips you down very low. Then we're gonna find the second angle which clips you through the floor for some reason. And it's just holding forward or aiming in those specific angles is what clips us downwards. So the first way you can do this is just not aim for some specific point, just something like this. Start running, go forward and just slowly tap. And if lucky, you can get stuck properly behind a leg like this, and I should be in a good position. So once stuck, just hold forward, first start turning to your around here, and then slowly tap. You see I move down the first step, so get the first clip. Then after you get the first clip, you want to be very slowly tap to find the second angle to clip through. And if you go too far, you can go over the angle, but that should be somewhere. Usually not too difficult to get it. Though the exact position of that angle actually depends on where you clip, so I have no clue why I don't get this time. I got clipped out instead, so yeah, that can happen. Let's try it again. Let's try with some setups instead, because that is a bit inconsistent. So you can use this camera to set up, and I'm gonna align the edge with a bit of the yellow there. Just want to see a little bit of the yellow. Now I think I see too much of the yellow, but let's just try this. Here it is now, apparently was good. So I got clipped, hold forward, turn, get the first down clip, and then slowly tap. Hopefully get the second. Why is it not giving me the second clip? Now I got it. That puts us out of bounds. So that's a way, and the final way is to try and align the slight indent which is in the head of Remy, which is because of his eyes, with this line here. So something like this maybe. Start dashing. I did not get clipped through this time, so you see I get clipped back. So what you can do is, first off, if you don't get properly clipped by just holding forward, drop forward. Sometimes it clips you on the second. If that doesn't work, start doing basically what you did the first time and doing slight angle taps to change your angle. This should be enough. You see the air is partly behind, which is a sign that you're clipped inside the leg. So start to get the first down clip, got it, and tap slowly. Now I got partly clipped, and yeah, like this works still. So it's not, the clip is not too difficult. You can always retry that more or less how many times you want. And this saves enough time, so if you even fail a few times, it's fine. Yeah, after you get out of bounds, we want to get his to this point, and we want to get in this floating animation. There's a bit of floor here. As you hear, you can hear some. And if you run off this randomly, you sometimes can continue running. I think it has to do with what angle you run off in. And if you don't get this slow hold, which you normally will always get, I can't even get the knot. Just want to show off what happens, but I can't even. Alright, you want to really avoid this thing too, because if you hit that, that's not good. No, I can't even get it. Let's just, because when you get to this point here, you're gonna see me slowly fall. If I were to be in a normal running state, I would instant fall. Yeah, you want to move into this, aim somewhere like here, and slowly fall. Tap a bit more, then continue here to get a slow fall again here. And depending on how high you are compared to the checkpoint, you either get what we want, which is if you just move into this, you get instant Spider-Man and collect it, which I did not because I was too low. So if you do that, you have to actually press jump to try and get. So I got Spider-Man now and collected the checkpoint. Oh. But if you get a correct height, all you have to do is just run into it. This looks like a better height. I'm more on the same height, so just move into it from you want to move into it from this angle too. And just tap slowly, because if you tap too much, you clip up and lose Spider-Man. So it's generally safe. If you lose everything, there's always a down warp here, which you can warp down and go here and try and set up Spider-Man again. Doing that, it's generally quite safe. The only risk is it is possible to clip through inbounds again, which loses basically a run. But as long as you play it safe and careful, it's not gonna happen. After that, we're gonna move through this where it's not solid, though that one there is solid, and get up to this point. We're gonna climb this wall here. You could climb it earlier point and just using this, because I'm gonna use this to count. So the first one I count as 0. You can be, sometimes you arrive up here, sometimes you're low, a bit under it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here on I want to be careful, because if I move too fast up the 7th, I lose Spider-Man and I don't want. And if I'm too low, so if I'm here, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go here and use Spider-Man on this. But if I'm too low, for some reason the solid point of this doesn't stretch all the way down, so and about here is the lowest you can be, so you can get up to somewhere in the middle. You can go up a little bit higher, but something like this is safe. I'm high enough. Just run here, and we're gonna aim for run from this point on this side, but not too far to the right, because if you far to the right, there's risk you miss the death trigger for some reason. Yeah, if you go too high by mistake, there is a final backup just to cover. As you can see, as long as you see them starting, we're under a floor, and we're also just gonna find the edge of that floor to set up a Spider-Man on that. We can just use this instead to hit the death trigger. Final thing that could happen is if you could get also, I don't know if I can even get this. You can get, instead of get a Spider-Man, you can potentially get clipped up here. Yeah, like this. So if this happens, this is the worst thing that can happen, because you can't get this clip here. You can, though, use, there's no death triggers on these other ones, but you can try and use these to gain some height. So, oh, I got Spider-Man on that, so that could happen. You could do this. Up and hit the death trigger. Normally you're not gonna get Spider-Man, but instead you have to follow this line to gain a bit of height. Something like this, and hopefully be able to move under here and hit the death trigger. We can move forward dashing, and if everything correct, I got warped. Apparently got Spider-Man too, so yeah, that's a bit inconsistent, so preferably you want to get Spider-Man and hit the death trigger that way, but you can back it up the fine way. But once you die, you spawn in here at the checkpoint point and can continue, and it's normal. This clip should save quite a bit of time, and there's so many backups, but even though it's a bit difficult, but it's not actually that bad with a lot of different ways and backups, and there's not too punishing if you fail, and it saves a lot of time, so yeah, I think this is worth it. Just a bit of practice.